Hey everyone, welcome to week 30, day 4. This is Thursday. This is our ongoing drawing in painting week, the role of drawing in my painting. And remember, we're trying to define it. We're trying to sort of find different categories for drawing all throughout the week. So on Monday, we did drawing as a reminder. I didn't remember. On Tuesday, we did drawing as source of courage. And yesterday, we did drawing as focus. So let's see how we define it today. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. Now, this is our day 4. This is Thursday, where we're trying to understand the role of drawing within my painting practice. So, drawing in painting. How can we define drawing during the act of painting, and how do we identify its value while we're working? Throughout this week, we've been trying to define drawing in very different, very separate ways. And we've been attempting to see if we can find echoes of those definitions during the execution of a painting. So on Monday, we tried to understand drawing as reminder. On Tuesday, we tried to see drawing as a source of courage. Yesterday, we saw it as focus. The second instance of that drawing was there to direct us, almost funnel us into the things that we appreciated the most about what we were looking in nature, those moments that moved us the most. So, drawing as focus was meant to say, hey, you can change gears and you can zoom in on these moments of your painting. And by reestablishing your drawing, you're going to be able to say, I've already drawn, blocked in, further modeled, but now I'm going to go back to that drawing stage. I'm going to go back to trying to decipher those instances in the form that really grabbed my interest, and I'm going to see if by doing so, I can actually emphasize those very things that I was moved by. So by focusing in on them, we are providing them with hierarchy. We are saying, hey, this is how my perception is shaped. I understand these values to be higher than these other elements that are present in the painting. So reminder, source of courage, focus, and today, you guys probably noticed, we're not doing any drawing in the strict kind of classical definition of the word. We are not using drawing tools, drawing implements. We have used during the week a water-soluble color pencil, and I gravitate towards those because I think they are soft, and I just like the way they kind of glide through the paper. I'm not really taking advantage of the ability to add water and use it as a vehicle for the pigment that is in the page. Not really. I'm not really interested in that. I think that in that sense, even those colors are not so great, like as watercolor pencils. I don't think they're that great. I just like the feel of them. I think the regular color pencils, the waxy color pencils, they tend to be a little bit stiffer. So these I find a little bit softer. I'm sure that it has to do with brands. I'm sure other people have different preferences, but I really enjoy that about these pencils. But the thing is, today, we are not using any of that. We are not using line work. We are going straight to paint. Now, maybe you're asking, weren't we going to speak about drawing? Drawing has occupied a very specific stage on the development of Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays paintings. So why negate that stage? Why negate that part of the process? And the thing is, and I think today is actually a really, really wonderful day. And I don't think I could have done this painting today, which, by the way, I think is probably my favorite painting of the whole year. I know I said yesterday that Tuesday's painting was probably one of my favorite paintings of the project. And I still think it's a wonderful painting. I loved doing that painting. And I think personally, there's a ton of stuff that I loved about the making of Tuesday's painting. I don't know if it's the best painting. I don't care to define it as the best painting, but it was very special for me. But today's painting, I don't think if I was in this mindset, in this particular mindset, where I am trying to understand the value that drawing holds in my painting practice, the role it has, where it shows up, what it means, how it can aid me, how it can come to my rescue. I don't think I would have been able to do this painting today if it wasn't for the 3 days prior to this painting. And I think this is the most amazing thing about the exercise that we're doing day to day and week to week. It doesn't mean that I'm getting to be a better painter. It's not making me a more capable painter. I don't really feel like I have more ability than, let's say, I had 2 years ago. I really don't believe any of that is true. It's just that my mindset is different and I am ready to tackle problems that perhaps I wasn't ready to tackle before. My painting is going to be riddled with insecurities. I don't think there is a single perfect painter in painting history, but I think that just by doing and doing and doing, and this is not blind painting. This is not where we just plop down and paint and paint and paint and just reiterate on the things that we know how to do, because that's like painting one painting. I've always associated that exercise as just doing the same painting over and over and over and over again. Now, we can be extremely successful and we can have a whole career, perhaps a whole life, just by doing the same painting over and over and over again. But the truth is, we are going to be missing so much of what painting has to offer. And perhaps many people are willing to sacrifice all those things, all the doors that haven't opened up for them. They are willing to sacrifice that for economic stability, for critical success, or for just the enjoyment of doing the same thing over and over again. That's totally fine. That's not my place to judge. To me, it's not about that. I've never really stood still for a long time. I've pursued exercises in my painting where I grant myself the ability to, say, paint 5 or 6 or 7 paintings that are part of a series. And by doing so, I think I can get a grasp of what I'm trying to do. But usually, after a couple of paintings where I'm doing the same thing, I get bored easily and I try to find something else that excites me. I think that this exercise for me has been perfect. It is a beautiful, beautiful way to just say, let me expand my universe. Let me breathe in everything that painting has to offer to me. And let me open my eyes and recognize all these things that I have never really seen before or done before. I think that many times it is a matter of us choosing to be blind rather than us not having the ability or the time to recognize that those options are very much so available to us. In today's painting, I'm very grateful. In a way, that is probably the most important aspect of what I'm doing today. I'm grateful to the fact that I gave myself 3 days to think about what drawing means to me in the act of painting. And I noticed that probably the most powerful and the most useful aspect of drawing is what we are going to define today as commitment. And drawing as commitment is something that is very tough for me because I am afraid of it. I think to commit to something inherently means that we have to overcome a fear of commitment. Specifically for me as a painter, I was always attracted to brushier paintings. I was always attracted to mark making. To me, mark making is one of the most exciting aspects of painting. Whenever I can see a brushstroke that is attempting to solve something, and whenever I see it solving something brilliantly, I am floored. I am in awe. This is what painting is about. This is the true nature of painting. But the thing is, I was conscious about my attraction for the commitment behind the brushstrokes, but I was always afraid of it. But I was horrified of it. If there's one thing that I dreaded in painting, it wasn't perspective. I mean, it still is. That is my kryptonite. But it was the commitment behind a brushstroke. And I remember just seeing some of the greatest painters. And if you think about it, a lot of the painters that we understand as most brilliant painters in all of art history, they are brushy painters. So if you think of Velázquez is a brushy painter. Fortuny is a brushy painter. Sargent is a brushy painter. Ramon Casas is a brushy painter. Joaquin Sorolla is a brushy painter. Anders Zorn is a brushy painter. All these people were able to synthesize with a brushstroke a world of knowledge. It is insane the power that a brushstroke has, but I recognize the power and the strength, but I also recognize the responsibility behind it. I remember when I was younger, I was like, you know what? I can't do this. That is a weight that I can't carry. I don't have the personality because I don't have it. I don't have this sense of security to be that type of painter. I just don't. I am far more comfortable in understanding myself as a flawed painter because I always saw mark making as something that was infallible. I couldn't visualize it as being any better. It was just like, look at that. That is perfection. The quintessential one being like the brushstroke that is the bridge of the nose, the highlight on the bridge of the nose of Lady Agnew. Like, who does that? Who has the guts to do that? Who has the knowledge to do that? Who has the insane amount of courage necessary to pull that off? And of course, it was Sargent, one of the greatest painters in all of history. But when I saw that, I was like, I can't do that. I can fake do that. You know, if it's about being brushy, oh yeah, sure. I can just put brushstrokes down as if I'm fencing, and I can feel super proud and courageous about putting them down, but they were all wrong. They were all off. I mean, there is no accomplishment in putting a brushstroke down. Anyone could do that. Anyone could drag a brushstroke across a surface. But a brushstroke has to mean something. It has to say something. It has to solve something. And the greatest painters ever, they were able to understand that dragging that brush across was something that was bigger than everything. And I think that part of why it holds such an insane amount of power is because there is a drawing DNA to a brushstroke. There is inherent drawing qualities to making a fantastic brushstroke. Because in the end, you know, a good brushstroke, that one brushstroke that just solves everything for you, that clears up the way, that parts the skies so that the sun can shine down, that brushstroke as calligraphy, that brushstroke is drawing. It is trying to solve. It is trying to find a way. It is trying to express with clarity. When I saw that, when I recognized that that is the quality of an amazing brushstroke, I always told myself, I just don't have it in me. I don't. I don't think it's one of those things where you practice just trying to do single brushstrokes. Like, you know, those exercises that people say, hey, I'm going to paint an eye in 10 brushstrokes. Yeah, you could do that, but that's like hacking a tree down with 3 swings of your axe. I don't think we should be too proud of doing that. It's far bigger than that. I think it's quite easy to recognize a very superficial brushstroke. I think those are super, super easily identified when you're looking at a painting. But I think the brilliant ones, oh my God, the brilliant ones, they're not loud, they don't scream at you. They kind of evolve from a painting. And when you find them, it's as if you found a treasure. You just have to explore the painting to notice them contextually. It's almost as if they present themselves to you. And when you see their intent, when you see the knowledge that was behind the decision that the painter took, then you're paralyzed. There is a brilliance to painting that only very few people can achieve. I am never going to be one of those people. There is a universe where these painters that are bigger than life reside in, and I'm nowhere near that universe. I am someone who is in this world to celebrate and recognize all the wonderful things that they did and to try to learn from them and hope that those teachings can show up at some point in my paintings and I can be enriched by all the accomplishments that they were able to achieve. Today for me was huge, and I think that that's probably why this is one of my favorite paintings, because I'm not one to say, yeah, I'm going to try to show off and I'm going to do this very brushy painting where I'm going to try to commit to single decisions. I think that if it comes down to it, I can try and paint that way, but I don't think I am a good painter in that sense. I don't have the ability that's necessary to really pull that off. But what I did today was to say, just put stuff down, just commit to something. You don't need a drawing. You just need masses of color and just commit to them and find your way. And hopefully what we're creating when we commit to something is this beautiful staircase where we are constructing that first step. And the only way to reach the second step is if that first step is solid enough and sturdy enough, and we can stand on top of it and then say, okay, while standing on top of this first step, I'm going to construct the second step, and then so on and so on and so on. While this painting gave me trouble and It's not perfect by any means. There is something to it. There really is something to it that I'm very proud of myself. I think that at times when we do something that is tough for us, we have to acknowledge and we have to not pat ourselves on the back and not just feed our ego, but just say, wow, that was tough. That was tough and I made it through. And I think that for me, this painting is that. It was just a very, very tough painting to paint. I don't know why. I don't know what makes it tough. Part of it was probably the approach, but it's not like the subject matter makes it tough. I don't really believe that there is tough subject matter out there. I choose to believe that there is not one thing that is tougher over other things. I don't know, but it was just about having this really nice rhythm while painting and hoping that the decisions that I made initially were good enough foundations so that I could build my painting on top of them. And I think they were. Obviously, in Fera's portrait, I tried to do something that was a bit more expressive because I had a ton of fun with Monday's painting of her. And I was very happy to try and have this kind of second round and try and apply some of the things that I had learned on Monday. I struggled a little bit. I had to backtrack a little bit and scrape. It was a fight, I had to punch my way out of it. But there's something to it. There is an energy to this little painting that I really, really like. And I think that it shows who I am as a painter, I feel. And I couldn't ask for more. Honestly, I can't ask more of my painting. What my painting gives back to me is the thing that I enjoy the most. And I think today I had this just incredible, awesome conversation with it. And I connect with the result. I'm not afraid to say it, but I think this is one of my favorites. That doesn't give it any particular value or anything, They're the same. I'll say goodbye to it in the same way I say goodbye to every other painting. I think Danny's painting that is backlit was one of those paintings that I did early on that I absolutely love. And I think my mom's house, the entrance of my mother's house, is also a painting that really resonates with me because I just understand it as being so, so familiar. So I connected with it just immediately. The bag of coins, I think that was a tough painting. I think that I'm happy with that painting because I honestly thought that I was never going to be able to paint that painting. So I was happy with how that painting turned out. But today is a painting that taught me something that I guess I've always known, is that there is this essence of drawing in almost everything that we make that has to do with commitment, just believing in something that you put down. And that has to do with us believing that we can carry that weight, that we can carry the responsibility of stating something. And I think that was today. I mean, I've painted hundreds of paintings. But if you ask me, those brushstrokes of Fer's hair, that little bit of chaos, I think that's some of the best brushstrokes that I've ever put down, ever. I don't know. It's the brushstroke as calligraphy. It's the most painterly part of drawing. So I saw it today. It was there today. And I don't know. It's not like the other days I don't see it or it doesn't show up. It's just that sometimes you can work your ass off and nothing happens. It's a good painting, but it doesn't speak back to you. It doesn't say anything to you. And you just have to soldier on and push through and say, okay, I just have to be ready for that day that something kind of special happens. And I think that happened today. And I'm very happy to be there to experience it, I guess. So that was it for today. Again, this was drawing as commitment, or drawing as committed mark making. You can choose whichever one suits you best. So we've done drawing as reminder, drawing as source of courage, drawing as focus, drawing as commitment or as committed mark making. And tomorrow, we're going to see if we close this week with another aspect of drawing that hopefully shows up in the painting that we're doing. Thank you guys for hanging out. See you tomorrow. Bye.